Good evening, Mrs. Inker's class, and welcome to Lights Out. I am your host, Dr. Petravage, and I am joined by my associates, Napoleon and Igor. Tonight's horrible pleasure is the story of Chicken Heart, a ghoulish tale of chickens with a taste for blood. Our story begins on... What's this, Igor? I can't tell this story because it's not part of the Common Core. Well then, it looks like we have a change of plans. Tonight's demonic delight will be the collected stories titled Frankenstein Makes a Sandwich, and other stories you're sure to like because they're all about monsters and some of them are also about food. You like food, don't you? Well, alright then. The creature from the Black Lagoon doesn't wait an hour before swimming. The creature from the Black Lagoon went back into the bog too soon. Too soon, his doting mother cried, "You just ate lunch, come back inside. That Black Lagoon is dark and damp, you're going to get a stomach cramp. Just think of all you had for lunch, a squid, 3 eels, Hawaiian punch, a bag of chips, a crab knish, a peanut butter jellyfish. You have to wait an hour more," she shouted from the kitchen door. Alas, the creature never heard. He hadn't listened to a word, and rushing to the water's bank, he dived into the dismal dank, then gurgled, got a cramp, and sank. The Phantom of the Opera can't get It's a Small World out of his head. It's a world gone crazy, a world gone wrong, when the Phantom can't even write a song. Sure, he's using his head, but what's stuck there instead? It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. Angry cursing fills the hall. Now he's crawling up the wall. It's a small, small world. An open letter from Wolfman's best friend. Dear Wolfman, I wanted to make some things clear. I know we've been roommates for nearly a year, and I probably should have said something before, but could you please try not to scratch the front door? If you want to come in, you should just use your keys, and if you forget them, then please, Wolfman, please, just knock and I'll happily open the door. And if I'm not home, please don't howl anymore, 'cause each time you do it, the neighbors complain. And since we're complaining, perhaps you'd explain how you managed to leave so much hair in the tub. I constantly clean it, I scour, I scrub, and I think I should mention it's really a pain. Tonight I removed a big clog from the drain, and I tell you, this hair clog was of such a size it could go to a cat show and win first prize. So anyway, that's all I wanted to write. Please take out the garbage, it's your turn tonight. Sincerely, your dog, Dynamite. The Phantom of the Opera still can't get It's a Small World out of his head. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small, small world. We now pause in tonight's presentation for a message from our sponsors. Since 1897, Jell-O has been producing the finest animal guts and brains, pleasing ghouls and children alike with its creepy, crawly goodness. All mothers know that no meal is complete without a healthy serving of monkey brains. So remember these words at your next witch's feast. Great big gobs of greasy, grimy, gooey gopher guts. French fried eyeballs swimming in a pool of blood. Mother, I forgot my spoon, but I've got my straw. Ah! Now, we continue with the story of the Yeti doesn't appreciate being called Bigfoot. Did you just say Bigfoot? What's wrong with your eyes? My feet aren't remotely as big as that guy's. Nor are they as smelly. You see, here's the truth. Some folks call him Sasquatch. His real name is Ruth. So then why's Bigfoot the name people mention? The smell, not the size, is what gets their attention. His nose is big too, but does anyone care? Perhaps if it smelled, they would be more aware. Well, of course, his nose smells, but you know what I meant. You can bet he's no Yeti by way of his scent. The Phantom of the Opera can't get Pop Goes the Weasel out of his head. He's going to freak out. All around the opera house, the Phantom throws a tantrum. The song won't die, he doesn't know why. Stop! Goes the Phantom. Zombie and zombie. Zoo. Zombie. 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 Samba. Zombie samba. Zombie samba. Zombie mamba. Mamba mamba. Zombie zoo. Roomba, Roomba, zombie samba, zombie zimbi bambi boo, zombie biza bombi zamba, buncha zumba zombie, bee, 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 bump, zombie, zombie. Now the Phantom of the Opera can't get the girl from Ipanema out of his head. Bald and pale and masked and ugly, the Phantom of the Opera is writing, but when he knows that he can't compose, he goes, ah! Every song comes out a samba, although he wants to write an aria, so his top blows and he tears his clothes and goes, ah! The dentist. Poor son of Dracula. He's just a dud. His daddy is famous, but his name is Mud. For how much blood could a bloodsucker suck if a bloodsucker can't suck blood? Everything's fine if he sucks on the throat of a dog or a hog or a cat or a goat. But a cold-blooded thing like a lizard or snake makes his head start to hurt and his fangs really ache. Franken Jr. was shocked. You'll have to go see the worst monster of all. She's much worse than me. Her fingers are hooks. Hooks, needles, and spears. Her voice is a high, buzzing whine in your ears. Instead of a head, there's a big glowing eye, the Frankenboy said, with a shuddering sigh. She doesn't sound scary, said Dracula's son. Not scary like crosses, or stakes, or the sun. So he made his appointment for just after dark at the New Transylvania Medical Park. It's awful, he whispered, so cheery and bright. You'd think it would kill them to turn off a light. They need some nice coffins. It's really a shame, young Dracula said as the nurse called his name. He followed inside, and before he could hide, the dentist was standing there right by his side. A note to the timid, or just faint of heart. This story has come to a frightening part. Stop reading! Now put the book down! This is scary! Peligro! Use caution! Beware and be wary. Still here? Very well. Little Drac stood in terror. He knew now he'd made the most horrible error. If he weren't undead, he'd have wanted to die. She was terrible. She was awful. She smiled and said hi. Her voice was a sweet lilting song in his ears. Her fingers were fingers, not needles or spears. That big glowing eye was a lamp, not a head. It was all so much worse than Frankenboy had said. Young Drac couldn't move, so she forced him to sit. Open wide now, she told him. This won't hurt a bit. You aren't flossing, she scolded, and Dracula blushed. And honestly, when was the last time you brushed? You really must brush after every bite. See, a cavity is formed on this fang on the right. It needs to be mended, and so if you're willing, I'll patch it right up with a small silver filling. A filling with silver! Drac wanted to shout. The werewolves will hate me. I've got to get out. He changed to a bat. He flew up and away. The dentist said, fine, we won't do it today. But get it fixed soon. You'll be glad that you did. Now here, take a sucker. You've been a good kid. He flew from the office, and homeward he raced. He sucked on the sucker, but gagged at the taste. He'd hoped it was flavored like blood or like liver. How scary! It's cherry, he thought with a shiver. Drac knew it was true as he spat and he cursed. My dad may be bad, but the dentist's the worst. The Phantom of the Opera is considering giving up music and doing his haunting somewhere else. There was a phantom who had a song, and Bingo was its name, oh, B-I-N-G-O-C, I told you so, B-I-N-G-O, by Jingo, what a lame-o. It bugged the phantom all night long, he never was the same, oh. His cheeks don't show, if they did, though, we'd see them glow, flamingo pink with shame, oh. At least the phantom knows it's wrong, it's caused him to proclaim, oh. I'll have no peace, and so I'll just go and haunt a bingo game, oh. The end. I hope you were all sufficiently horrified, revolted by tonight's tales of horror and rhyming. May the rest of your evening be miserable, and may you have a terrible Halloween. Mwahaha! 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 Igor, where are the flashing scary lights? The script clearly says that there are evil flashing lights while I laugh maniacally. Oh, great. Well, folks, it appears that the Minions Union has decided to call for a strike, and Igor can't cross the picket line. You just can't genetically engineer good help these days. Instead of scary special effects, I will leave you with something, an image more horrifying than anything you could ever imagine.